What's up? So the NBA season is good 15 or 16 games in now, and trade rumors are starting to pick up, mostly for these better teams in the league right now. Bleacher Report released some news and rumors about like kind of which guys might be on the move. A lot of that was like the Suns looking to get rid of Jay Crowder, the Hawks maybe shopping John Collins. Along with like some other types of smaller names, but thought we'd look into them and we'll get right into it. I made a couple fake trades, and then I kind of wanted to talk about what would go into some of these moves potentially happening. If you're liking the content, please subscribe. That would be awesome. Help me out a lot, and it'll keep you up to date with all the new videos I release. But we'll start with this Hawks one. So I thought that a decent move for them would be to just swap him with Bogdanovic, or Bojan Bogdanovic. It says that he can't be traded this season, which is just wrong. The trade date's December 15th for players that were signed during the offseason. And so I'm not sure why this is saying this. Everything else that I saw said that he could be traded before then. But why would the Hawks do this? I think Bojan is definitely a player with a lower ceiling than John Collins, of course, but I think he fits the Hawks timeline a little bit better right now, especially like kind of his system fit too, because he's just such a damn good shooter. He'd be able to space the floor much better than John Collins does for the Hawks, and I think he'd just be a much better fit. And then the Pistons, I mean, they're not really giving up a whole lot. The picks in all of these are up for discussion. I think that just like a second round here made the most sense to me, but it could definitely be a first or something. But I think the Pistons would want to do this because they're adding like a good lob threat that's still only like 25 years old, or I believe 25 years old, next to Cade. And I think as a pick and roll partner, that would be just a great fit, as well as next to Jaden Ivey. So I think that this would be a trade that would definitely benefit both teams. And then, so another name that was thrown into the hat was Harrison Barnes. This one's definitely not as pretty, and I definitely think that this one probably would need to be a 3-team trade where the King or the Hawks are getting a little bit more. But similar idea, you're getting a better shooter that can space the floor, and then Harrison Barnes can play, I would say, a few more positions than John Collins. I would think that Harrison Barnes can play the 3 really well as well. This guy's just in here for money. I've never even seen this guy play, I don't think. Again, picks are whatever. And then the Kings, they're just adding another guy to their like 24-year-old roster that think would fit really well with them. And they're the Kings, so they're trying to get whatever good players they can. And if they can get one, then why not? I would like if this was the trade that was on the table, the Kings would need to give up a first-round pick or more than that, especially since Harrison's on a 1-year deal. It wouldn't be super sexy for the Hawks to want to take this with this 1-year deal, but I think this is like kind of the blueprint if they wanted to get Barnes. And then we're staying on a Hawks trend. I kind of just threw the Clippers in here because I wasn't too sure who else would kind of want to get involved here. But we're similar idea here. They're getting a 3 that could play some 4 if they really wanted to. And Gordon Hayward's just a good shooter. He passes the ball really well. Again, I think part of the idea here is that the Hawks don't want to pay this salary anymore. I think they've kind of soured on that. And the Hawks are getting a first-round pick, which it's Denver's, so it's not going to be very good. And I think that's kind of part of why the Hornets would be fine with moving this pick. And again, they're just getting 2 youngish players that kind of fit their timeline, and they're getting off of an older guy. I think that these guys would just be a better fit to grow long-term with LaMelo and some of those other guys they've got. And then the Clippers, I mean, they're kind of here for salary, but then also I think this is a good spot for them to just get off of Luke Kennard's contract and then also grab an extra big, since they've pretty much just got Zubats and then a bunch of small ball 5s that aren't really 5s, they're more like 4s. And so I think that this would definitely be beneficial for the Clippers as well. Again, we'd have to see if like that would be actually worthwhile to all of them. I think the Hawks would like this. I think the Hornets would like this, and I think the Clippers would be happy with what they get as well. And so now to the Jay Crowder situation. So this is kind of two birds, one stone. So the Bucks have been one of the names that wanted Jay Crowder as well as the Hawks, and I'm going to talk about a little bit later about like why it's kind of difficult for them to get him. Most of it centers around the Bucks and the Hawks don't really have like decent contracts to send out that they would like to. Grayson Allen was a name that the Bucks were shopping, and so and then the other part of this is that the Suns have been looking at Kyle Kuzma, and I don't know why the Wizards would want to trade him unless their season just starts to tank and then they just want to get some value out of him, I guess. But so for the Suns, I mean, they're getting Kuzma. Joe Ingles is here for money. Joe Ingles was injured, and I believe he's on it, like going to be back in January, if I remember correctly. And then this failed because it's both the December 15th recently signed, so this would have to wait until then. And then the Wizards, they're just getting a first-round pick from the Suns, which is going to be super late, so it's kind of a second-round pick. And they're getting Grayson, who's just a good shooter, kind of defender, just kind of throw in their lineup. The Wizards are not getting a lot here, and I don't know why they would want to get rid of Kuzma in the first place. And then the Bucks, they're getting two power forwards to kind of fill PJ Tucker's spot that is missing. And really, they're not giving up a whole lot here, but I think both the Suns and the Bucks would be happy here, I believe. The Wizards would not be. This is just kind of a blueprint that I would see for this type of deal. And then more Kyle Kuzma ideas. So this was the other side of things, like if the Hawks were to get Jay Crowder. So kind of just like a big old swap. The Wizards getting Cam Johnson, who's young and had some good potential, but he did tear his meniscus, I think. So they'd have to agree to trade an injured player. I know that whole situation's kind of difficult. And then the Wizards are also getting that first-round pick, the same one as before. And then the rest of these guys are salary, Justin Holiday and Jalen Johnson. Again, I don't know why the Wizards would want to get rid of Kuzma. If it's for a younger player like Cam Johnson, if he wasn't hurt, then I could see this being a little bit more appealing to them, but not too sure. The Suns are also looking at Kenyon Martin Jr. I don't think that he's worth a first-round pick, but maybe to the Suns since this pick's not going to be great. And if you're the Rockets, you kind of just want to get rid of him for picks at this point. I mean, I think he's good. I haven't seen like any Rockets games this season, so I can't tell you if he has been better than last season. But last season, preseason, he looked good. And I do know that before the season started, he did request a trade. So maybe that is something that the Rockets look into doing, especially with how many young guys they have and how many picks they have. Couldn't hurt. And then back to Harrison Barnes. This is a similar thing to the other one, just a couple guys that are on bigger contracts. Landry Shamet is on a longer deal, so maybe the Kings would look into that and say, like, oh, we can get another guard that can shoot the ball pretty well, get a pick, and then get off a little bit of money. Again, one-year deal, not super enticing, but if the Suns are trying to go all in this year, why not? And that's the end of those. That's my desktop. Okay, so the issues with the whole Jay Crowder thing, I mean, he's making $10 million, and the only way that the Bucks or any of these like high salary teams can get him, I believe it's a 15% leeway they get. I believe it should say here, or 125%. So they could get, I mean, if Jay Crowder is worth $12.5 million, they could send out $10 million and it would work. But guys that they have that they could trade for that, I mean, if there's no way the Suns would want Serge Ibaka after his recently signed restriction goes away. He's just too old and hasn't looked good. Again, it could be the Grayson Allen thing, and throw like George Hill or someone in there, which the Bucks love George Hill, so I don't know why they would want to do that. Either it could be the Joe Ingles and Grayson Allen type move. I don't know if the money works on that. Yeah, they'd need to cut another $2 million out of that, so I guess they could like send out Josh Okogie or someone, and even then, the money wouldn't quite work. Don't believe, and it just, the money does work. Okay, but even in a situation like this, if you're the Suns, how enticing is this really? Like, Grayson's a good player. Joe Ingles was good, but he's been hurt and he's old, so I'm not too sure if this would be even enticing at all. I think that they could probably get a better deal. Like, I feel like what usually happens with like these better role players that teams are looking to get rid of, the teams that are initially thought of to get them are never the ones that actually get them. And like in Jay Crowder's situation, like I imagine like a team like the Mavericks or someone would swoop in and have like a better deal or something. And similar situation with the Hawks, because the Hawks have wanted him as well. Like if they were to look to trade for him, it would mostly rely around like Justin Holiday and then like their rookie or Jalen Johnson and a bunch of other scraps, and it doesn't really work out at all. But yeah, that's pretty much it for those. And then I also saw this Sports Illustrated article that I thought we'd look over as well. A lot of similar trade talks here. And this is, again, starting with Jay Crowder. This is a 3-team deal. Okay, so the Rockets are getting Grayson Allen, Dario Saric, a second-round pick, and another second-round pick from Milwaukee. The Suns are getting Eric Gordon. I actually really like that for them. I think Eric Gordon is still underrated at this point and can provide a lot to a team. The Bucks are getting Jay Crowder basically for Grayson and 2 second-round picks, which is fine. He fits that role. He's a pretty good shooter, plays good defense. I think that would be just fine for them. I don't hate this at all. I think the Rockets would be pretty fine with that because they've tried to flirt around with trading Eric Gordon for a while now and haven't gotten that first-round pick that they've wanted. Nets, Suns, Hawks, 3-teamer. So the Nets are getting John Collins. Hawks are getting Joe Harris, Jay Crowder. Second round, Brooklyn, Houston, first round swap. And the Suns are getting Eric Gordon, Kenyon Martin Jr., and Kessler Edwards. It's a 4-teamer, yeah. And then the Rockets are getting Dario, first round, top 10, and Miami second round pick 37 protected. So this is that Brooklyn Rockets pick that was swapped for James Harden, and this is the rights to swap with Brooklyn. So, I mean, these are the pick swaps are so absolutely confusing on like the swap best or swap worst. I believe that this one would be if, let's say, Brooklyn sucks this year and they get like the 3rd overall pick. This would resort in who has it? The Hawks being able to swap that pick to get to the 3rd pick, I believe. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong there. So I feel like this pick is super expensive to get rid of here. So I'm not sure why they would include that one. I would say maybe just includes like some worse pick, unless this is the like lower end of that swap. But I mean, for the Nets, getting John Collins, definitely an upgrade over Joe Harris and like Kessler Edwards, and then they're giving up like a second round or whatever. Unless this is like Brooklyn side of things, I don't know. Either way, the Rockets will be bad, and Brooklyn's not going to be wonderful. So I mean, that pick's probably going to be lower or higher up, anyways. Hawks getting Joe Harris, Jay Crowder. Jay Crowder's what they want. Joe Harris is damn good shooter, so I mean, why not? They're getting some extra stuff. Yep, all good. Suns, Eric Gordon, we went over that. Kenyon Martin, they want him too. We already went over that. Kessler Edwards, I haven't seen a whole lot of. And then the Rockets, very similar stuff. They're getting a pick and cap relief and a second rounder. Cool. I think that sounds pretty good. If I'm the Hawks, if this pick is really good, I'm doing it. Like, see ya, John Collins. I'll take these two guys and a good pick any day. Suns, I'd absolutely do that as well. Yeah. Anyways, okay. John Collins for Gordon Hayward. I think we we did do this one. But this one's including PJ Washington, who I think is good, and I think Charlotte wouldn't really want to get rid of since he has been looking better lately. And then it also says that Charlotte's sending out their 2024 first-round pick, top 10 protected, which I think that's a risky one. If they think that Miles Bridges is going to come back next season and they could have Miles Bridges, John Collins, LaMelo Ball, and then some of their other young guys are going to get better, yeah, I could see maybe that. If they think they're going to be like maybe a 6 seed or something, then that pick wouldn't be too valuable. Again, I don't hate it. I don't love it. And that's it. But anyways, if there's more rumors that you know of, or if there's something else you'd like me to talk about, just let me know down below. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care.